Hello Science Alliance, I'm Lara. This is State of Science. I'm actually trained to teach physics up to A level, and I do stream free live lessons into the internet which come with free optional printouts and exercise your brain and ask you questions. But this isn't a lesson, this is what we call the Lego Story Show, where I just chat about a thing that you asked me to learn about. We do an activity and I tell you a Lego story at the end, and I wear a daft costume. I'm obviously dressed as a wreath today, or like a bit of wreath, I suppose, like one side of a wreath. So sometimes, like, it is not unknown for me to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning, rummaging around in my kitchen cupboards, trying to find an activity that relates to the Lego Story Show. But I didn't need to do that today, because the BBC Bitesize have just got us sorted. Look. On the BBC Bitesize website, they've got this whole how to make a paper wreath activity, and it's great. I made one yesterday, but I didn't quite get it finished. I'm really happy with how it was looking, so I'm going to start again today and make one with you. Try and go a bit faster and see if we can get this done, okay? So I'll show you the steps. Thank you, BBC Bitesize, you absolute legends. There's 2 different versions you can make. I'm going to make the loopy one. Anyway. So what you need is some coloured paper, some scissors and some sellotape. Let's try and make one of these together while I chat to you about festive plants. The first bit is quite easy. What you need to do is to make your little hoop. So you just choose a colour. It doesn't have to be green, does it? Because we're doing paper, not plants. But basically you just tape 2 A4 pieces of paper together along the short edge to make 2 pieces of paper stuck together. And then you just roll it up and then twist it into a hoop. And that's all you do, first of all, okay? Did you get that? Stick 2 pieces of A4 paper together, roll them up, and then twist them into a loop. Yeah, we can do that, can't we? We can do that. I found in the middle aisle of Lidl a couple of days ago this incredible pad of coloured paper. So I'm going to use this one instead. What am I going to do? I'm going to do it, what colour should I do? Oh, I should have decided beforehand, but I guess I'll do green. I don't want to use my lovely dark greens because I thought I bought the pad because I thought they'd be really useful for the backgrounds of Lego stories. So and I use greens and blues all the time. But you've got to, maybe I'll make a multicoloured one. Yeah, I'm going to make a multicoloured one. Yeah, I am. You could just choose one colour. Like I say, you can do green if you like, but you don't really have to, because the reason why wreaths are green is because they're made of Christmas plants, and ours isn't going to be made of Christmas plants. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to make mine brown and white and see if it looks like a Christmas pudding. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Anyway, beg your pardon, because the first thing we need to do is not really choose a colour. You don't even really need to have a colour because this is just the ring and we're not going to see that anyway. So actually I'm just going to use some boring old white paper for that, so don't waste anything else. So the first thing you need to do is stick 2 A4 pieces of paper together. I think the very first thing you should do is just to cut a load of bits of sellotape and put them on the edge of a table or something, because we're going to need those later. Okay, right, let me talk to you about Christmas plants, because I love the idea of people long ago, like thousands of years ago, my ancestors, because if you're alive today, you have got great times 100 whatever grandparents who were living in the olden times, the pagan times. I love thinking about them doing the same thing that I'm doing, about traditions that have been carried on. And Christmas plants is a great topic for thinking about that. I'm just cutting lots of bits of sellotape and sticking them on my table. That's what I'm doing in preparation for the activity. Yeah, because we can't even pinpoint when humans first started bringing evergreen plants into their houses to sort of celebrate the winter period. First of all, very briefly, because I'm a physics teacher, let's talk about what winter actually is. So Earth is on an angle, right? And it's orbiting the sun. I always do it so like I'm holding Earth and my head is the sun, which is why I'm doing this. Earth is at an angle. Let's say that my fingers are the north of the planet and my wrist is the south of the planet, and it sort of goes around Earth like that. So there's a point where Earth is pointing towards the sun directly, and that is our summertime in the north. And then it goes round and round, it gets cooler and cooler and cooler and cooler and cooler until there's a point, there's a time when the north of the planet is pointing as far away from the sun as it possibly gets. And that is our winter, like our deepest winter. So in the south, that would be their deepest summer, and then that would be their deepest winter. You get me? So anyway, winter time, Christmas time, is almost the exact point where the north of the planet is pointing as far away from the sun as it can possibly get. It's angled as far away as it can be. And like for thousands of years, humans, even if they didn't quite understand, it's just a cinnamon stick biting the dust, even if they didn't quite understand that, they knew that there was a point in winter where things started to warm up again. And this point in time was called the solstice. And people have been celebrating the solstice for thousands of years. Here we go. So this is the December solstice. That's when we're talking about now, when Earth is kind of angled like that, away from the sun. And I was thinking, like, it's a really sort of weird, clever piece of marketing, isn't it? I was singing the song Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly the other day. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. And I got to the line, 'tis the season to be jolly. And I thought, why is it the season to be jolly? That makes no sense. Like, we're in deepest winter, it's very cold, there's not as much food around. So it's just humans, I think, just for a very, very long time, trying to cheer themselves up. And one of the things that they would do is to surround themselves with what greenery was available. And that was evergreen plants. Right, I've got two pieces of paper stuck together, finally. I'm going to roll it up, not scrunch, I'm going to roll, and then, but it can be pretty rough, and then twist it so that it makes a circle. So, where I'm from in the UK, there's not that many evergreen plants to choose from. There is one like pine tree, the Scots pine tree, which is native to Scotland, which we'll talk about later. The tree actually in the UK, which is the sort of Christmas tree-like tree, which is evergreen, is actually the yew tree. We don't bring it into our houses to celebrate Christmas. I don't know really why. I don't know if it's because it's deadly poisonous. If you see a tree that looks a little bit like a Christmas tree, but it's got red berries on it, or because it's early, the red berries are just these little yellow balls here. This is not a pine tree. It's a yew tree. It's native to Britain. It's deadly poisonous. Even the leaves are poisonous. Everything about it pretty much is poisonous. It is actually a type of sort of cone. It's a conifer tree. The little things that look like red berries are actually a sort of a type of cone. It's called an aril, so they're not technically berries. But yeah, a little bit more about yew trees in the Lego Story Show. What we would have brought into our homes, here we go, where I am in Britain, that's all right, isn't it? So I'm just going to sellotape that. Do you get that? Scrunch it, twist it, make it into a circle. Would have been holly and ivy. And again, holly and ivy found all around the world. I thought I'll look up where the idea of a wreath comes from. Oh yeah, so I was looking up the history of when we started putting evergreen plants into our houses. And I found this, thank you English Heritage, on their website. They say, the 16th century, so in the 1500s, a historian found an account from 1444 which explained that in London, every man's house and also his parish church was decked with holm, which was the word for ivy they used in those days, ivy, bays, like maybe bay leaves, although they're not native to Britain actually, bay trees, and whatever the season of the year afforded to be green. So we've got like church records from hundreds of years ago of them spending money on holly and ivy to decorate their churches with. Are you okay? You getting to this bit? Okay, so the Romans actually give us the tradition of the wreath, and they kind of give us a festival which is really similar to Christmas. So Christianity sort of became popular in the Roman times. Like, the Romans weren't Christians. Christianity sort of wasn't a thing. And then Christianity appeared and a Roman emperor became a Christian, and he sort of spread Christianity around. So came to Britain because the Romans invaded Britain. But before Christianity was a thing, there was this festival called Saturnalia, which is when at winter time, in the deepest winter, Romans would take the day off work or school, even enslaved people would stop working for the day, and then a day became a whole week of celebrations, and they would give gifts, and they would feast, and they would bring evergreen stuff into their homes. Does it sound familiar? Yeah. So this was called Saturnalia, and there's some records that say Saturnalia kind of developed into Christmas, and there's some records that say it doesn't. But certainly this tradition of bringing plants into your home goes back a long way. The Romans give us the first wreath. So they used to, you've probably seen like Romans wearing wreaths in films when they've sort of won prizes. An olive wreath was actually the prize in the Olympic Games. And Bacchus, the Roman god of wine, used to wear a wreath of ivy. I think they thought that ivy stopped you getting drunk. And then eventually we got this idea in like in the sort of 1800s in Britain, we started bringing wreaths into our home. Right, we'd better crack on. I need to tell you about science of ivy and holly. And we need to get this wreath done, don't we? So, my paper's a bit smaller than A4, which is a bit annoying. But what I would like you to do, please, is to get an A4 piece of paper and cut it in half. So my paper's big, so that's my A4 bit of paper, even though it's a bit small. You need to get an A4 piece of paper and cut it in half. I think as my paper's small, I'm just going to fold it in half like this. But whatever your paper you're using to actually make the colours of your wreath, cut it in half if it's A4 lengthways, and then fold it in half so you've got a piece that looks a bit like that. I'll show you the next steps in the BBC Bite Size Wreaths website. Here we go. Because we better move on if I'm going to get this finished. Oh, I fear I'm not. You might have to finish it on your own time. They do two different versions. A fringing version, which they say is a bit easier, where you just snip into the paper, and a loopy version, which I think looks better. And it's not that hard. I've managed to do it. So you can do what's called the bristle wreath, where you cut A4 paper into 4 bits and just cut into it and then wrap it around your wreath. I think we should do this one. This is the loopy wreath. It looks great, yeah? So we get A4 piece of paper, fold it in half, and then cut it in half, and then you fold those bits like this, they're showing you here. And then you just snip into it so that it looks like that. So you've sort of folded it, but you've snipped into it. Do you see what I mean? So each one forms like a little loop. And then eventually what you have to do is stick that at an angle. I mean, you've probably got the internet so you're watching this, so if you like you could pull this up and do it in your own time. But you stick it at an angle and then you wrap it around. But I'm just going to make my little fringes now while I chat to you about holly and ivy, okay? So, the holly tree is native to Britain. You quite often see it as a bush. So I'm doing brown and white. I'm going to try and make what looks like a Christmas pudding and then decorate it with some paper holly at the end. Yeah, you quite often see holly as a bush, but it can actually grow to about 15 metres. It is a tree. It's got those very distinctive red berries on it, which are great for wildlife, really good at feeding wildlife in the winter when there isn't as much food around. A lot of birds eat it. I didn't realise that missel thrushes, we talked a bit about thrushes last week, thrushes love holly berries so much that if you ever see an angry missel thrush in a tree, it's probably like guarding its holly berries, making it that no other bird in the vicinity can eat the berries because it wants it all to itself. Here's a picture of missel thrush. It does look pretty aggro. Look at that. There you go. So they like to patrol holly bushes so that no one else can get the berries. There's this sort of famous bit of science, which people always tell me now when we walk past holly bushes, that holly, okay, I've done one of those, right? So did you see what I did there? Folded the paper in half and then snipped it, so I've sort of got these loops. I'm going to do at least one more of those, I guess maybe 2 more. But you could always just do one. I tell you what, I'll do a couple. We'll start wrapping it round to see how much it takes up, and then we can always cut more if we need to. Apparently, sorry, I should have said this before, thinner fringes are better. So don't cut them like really wide to try and save time. It's better if you cut them a bit thinner like that. And you get me that you're cutting the folded edge, yeah? You're not cutting the flapping edge. You get what I mean? You get it, right? Hopefully. Yeah, they say that holly bushes can react, or holly trees can react to the predators around them and change the spikiness of their leaves. So if there's a lot of deer around that are eating the lower leaves of the holly tree can kind of like turn on different bits of its DNA, which mean that the lower leaves become more spiky, so the predators can't eat the leaves. But the top leaves will remain quite sort of blunted. people are always showing me holly bushes like just down my street and saying, oh yeah, did you know, look, can you tell? I'm like, I'm not convinced that is the case. Apparently young holly trees are just naturally spikier than older holly trees, which, you know, they just can't be bothered. They haven't got those emotions anymore. They're sort of softer. So it could be, I don't know, unless there's like loads of deer wandering around where you are eating the holly trees. I don't know if that applies to every holly tree that you see, but it's a very cool piece of science that they did. Right, I think I'll just sort of, to show you what to do, I'll start wrapping this first bit that I've made around my ring, okay? So BBC Bite Size says that this is tricky. I don't think it is tricky, which makes me feel like maybe I've got it wrong. But what they say to do is, once you've finished cutting a fringe, like put the corners, if you see what I'm doing, just put the corners slightly not together and then sellotape it. So you literally just move the corner so it's like 1 centimetre over, and then you sellotape it, and they say that that makes it more 3D. And they say, oh, it's a bit tricky. And I'm like, makes me think that I've got it wrong. But anyway, I'm going to do that to both my fringy bits, and then I'm going to start wrapping it around my wreath to see how many more that I need. Okay. Yeah, so holly, great for wildlife, native to Britain, grows very tall. Apparently like holly trees have the same DNA, but it can turn on and off different bits of DNA. It's just incredible biology that I don't really understand. Right, you've got to be careful when you're doing your turning if you're left-handed, because you can see here, like, this isn't right. If I start wrapping, what you do is you tape it to the wreath, but if I start wrapping like that, is that right? Actually, that is right. It just doesn't feel right for me because I'm left-handed. There's a way not to do it. I think it's fine. Yeah, just stick it on your wreath and then start wrapping it around. So stick the bit that isn't loopy, stick the end that isn't loopy around your wreath, onto your wreath. And then, yeah, just start wrapping. So you want it to be overlapping, so that you can't see any of the, oh no, I see what I'm going to do wrong. Yeah, look, I was about to do it wrong because I was about to wrap it so that the loops ended up on top of each other, like that. Don't do it like that. Don't wrap the loops up like that. Make it so that, make it so that the loops are hanging free. Okay, like, oh man, being left-handed is it's a real bummer sometimes. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Cool. There. So ivy gets a really bad reputation. We have done a whole show on ivy. A lot of people think that because, well, I was going to show you. Oh yeah, we haven't really talked about why evergreen plants are evergreen, have we? Oh my goodness, Christmas plants, it turned out, was quite a big subject for a lesson. So I'll start wrapping and I'll try and talk and wrap at the same time. Most trees drop their leaves in winter, okay? The reason that trees are green, the stuff that is green is called chlorophyll, and it's the chlorophyll that absorbs light from the sun, and the plant uses that energy to make sugar. So it makes sugar using energy from the sun, using its green chlorophyll. Now, it takes quite a lot of energy for the plants to do this. So when there's not much sun, when it gets to winter, most plants take the chlorophyll back from their leaves. So when you see like beautiful autumn colours like yellow and orange, those colours are in the leaves all the time. They've always been there, but you can't normally see them because of all the chlorophyll. So the tree kind of sucks the chlorophyll back into the tree. And you can see all the lovely autumn colours, and then the leaves drop off. It's because most leaves, they're made of water, basically. They've got loads of water in them, and when water freezes, it gets bigger. So if the leaves stayed on the trees, then when it froze in the wintertime, all the water would sort of expand and the tree's leaves would be completely ruined. So it's got to start again anyway. Also, dropping your leaves means that snow can't build up on the leaves in the winter, because if you're a big conker tree, the snow falling on your leaves might like snap your branches off. So yeah, there's loads of reasons why it's good for the tree to drop its leaf in winter. Some plants don't do that. They get the little bits of the sun's energy that are available all year round. And it's because they've evolved to have, all right, that's looking pretty good. good. I'm not sure about the brown, but I think when I turn it into a Christmas pudding, it's going to look great. But I definitely need more brown. So you will probably find that you need maybe like 4 or 5 or even 6 of those frilly bits. So I'm just going to make some more while I'm chatting to you. Yeah, some plants, and you can tell actually if you look at holly, it's got really rubbery leaves. So it's very good at, it's sort of got antifreeze in it, which stops it from freezing in the winter. And yeah, it's also got these really, really thick rubbery leaves, which sort of act like insulation, help trap the water inside, just help protect it in the winter. Yeah, all right, let's move on to ivy. Ivy, I love ivy. When it sort of creeps up out of the ground, first of all, it travels along the ground horizontally like that. That's when it's like a baby and a teenager. And when it detects shade, that's a sign that there's something nearby that it can climb up. So when it detects shade, it starts climbing upwards. And that's like its adult period when it starts to kind of flower and release, grow like little dark berries, which again are really good for wildlife. So ivy gets a really bad reputation because, I don't even just about make out here, it sticks into brickwork using these little kind of sort of claws in a way. So it does grow roots. Well, it gets its nutrients from the ground. It grows roots into the ground like most plants. But it does sort of stick to brickwork by releasing these little kind of feelers which end up drying and curling, and it's quite complicated how ivy sticks to brickwork. But a lot of people think that because it's sticking to the brickwork, that it's damaging the bricks. So a lot of people tear ivy off their buildings thinking that that's a good idea. It's actually a terrible idea because it turns out it's not damaging the bricks at all. But if you cut ivy off at the bottom, you've cut off its roots, right? So it can't get nutrients anymore. So the ivy will do like the ivy equivalent of panic, and it will try and get nutrients from your bricks. It will start to grow its roots into brickwork. So actually, like most studies show that ivy isn't really a problem on buildings. In fact, it can act like a kind of cozy little blanket and protect the buildings from damage by the wind or by the rain. But if you start cutting it off, or if you just cut the roots off without actually pulling the ivy off, that's when it could start digging into brickwork and damaging it. The jury's kind of out. They're not quite sure whether it could trap moisture into the walls and it could make things damp, but it also could stop moss and lichen and other things like that, which can damage brickwork from growing. So I don't know. I mean, I'm biased because I like birds and stuff, so I say just leave ivy alone so that it can feed blackbirds and wasps and other creatures with its lovely flowers and berries. Right, I'm doing a little bit more wrapping. Can I get away with this? I'll put a little bit more on, and then I think I'm ready for the whites. Okay, so is that it? I think that's everything I need to tell you about holly and ivy. We've done yew trees. I've got a Christmas cactus here. Have you heard of a Christmas cactus? I hadn't really, and then my fantastic mum-in-law actually bought me one, so now I can show it to you. Christmas cacti, or Christmas cactuses, they are a real plant. They're from Brazil, so they live in like the warm tropical part of the world. I know, they like a lot of moisture in the air. I thought that all cacti lived in the desert, but apparently they don't. So they're from Brazil, but we have cultivated them. So the plant that I've got here doesn't really look like a wild, what you call a Christmas cactus, because humans have changed it so that it looks as awesome as it can possibly look. We call it a Christmas cactus. In Brazil, it naturally flowers, apparently in May, but in the Northern Hemisphere where I am, it flowers in the winter. Here's what it looks like. Oh, isn't that awesome? The internet tells me, wow, its flowers are absolutely amazing. It's flowered even since yesterday. The internet tells me that it doesn't have leaves, which might confuse you because these very much look like leaves, but apparently these are stems. But as you will be able to tell, they've got chlorophyll in them. So the Christmas cactus uses its stems for making sugar, using energy from the sun. And it's an epiphyte, fantastic word, which means that it doesn't have to grow in soil. It can grow off the side of trees, but it doesn't damage them. It's not like it's not a parasite. It's an epiphyte. So it's perfectly okay for plants to have these things growing off them. Right, I've got confused. Where did I start? Stick that on there and wrap around a little bit more. Yeah, so that's the Christmas cactus. I mean, I thought it was sort of a new trend, but apparently we started messing around with them and cultivating them in the 1800s, but they sort of went out of fashion. They seem to be in fashion again now. Yeah, they grow on the side of trees near Brazil. They grow near moss. You probably see them in supermarkets now. Okay, right. So the last thing we have to do before we go to our Lego story. I'm not going to get this finished, am I? I'm going to have to finish it in my own time. The last thing I have to do is to tell you a little bit about Christmas trees and how to tell the difference between Christmas trees, because this is one of my favourite things to do at Christmas. You sort of think of Christmas trees as being pine trees, and they are, but pine tree is quite a big, broad family of trees. So a tree can be a pine tree, it can be in the pine tree family, but it can, okay, I think that's enough. I'm going to start with the white. I'm going to have to give up, aren't I? I'm going to have to tell you your Lego story in a minute, but I'll keep going until oh yeah, I've got a lovely cream colour. Thank you, Lidl. I'll keep going until I feel like you're getting bored and I've told you about Christmas trees, and then we'll crack on. Let's make some nice cream for the top of my Christmas pudding wreath. Yeah, so a pine tree is a big family of trees, but within the pine tree family, there are spruce trees and fir trees and pine trees that are all separate categories in the pine tree family, okay? And we do use pine trees for Christmas trees, but we're much more likely to use a spruce tree or a fir tree. I have written a whole magazine about Christmas trees, which those of you who are supporting me have quite possibly received, so you know this already. But there's a really lovely, easy little way to tell whether something is a spruce tree or a fir tree, and it's by looking at how the needles are attached to the branches. So I'll show you that now. I've got my little hand lens here. Spruce trees are attached, actually I'll show you the fir tree because that's easier to see. If it's a fir tree, then the needles are attached to the branches with little sort of what we call sucker cups. It very much looks like someone's made a pine needle out of Play-Doh and then just the Play-Doh onto the side of the pine tree. I'll show you. Onto the side of the fir tree. Here we go. Oh, in fact, I didn't show this yesterday on Facebook, but you get a much better view looking at the back of it. So this is a fir tree. This is a Nordmann fir. Very popular species of fir tree to use as a Christmas tree because the needles don't tend to fall off. Can you see again? It's quite waxy, like it's protecting itself from the cold. Again, pine needles we think have evolved. They are leaves, but the snow doesn't build up on them as much as like it would a sort of conker leaf tree. So that's maybe why pine tree needles have evolved on trees that grow in cold weather. So yeah, have a look at how this fir tree, some needles are stuck on. That's what it looks like from the top. Oh, lovely and shiny, very soft. But if I turn it over, you get a much better view. Here we go. Can you see like the little sucker cups? It does look, doesn't it? Like someone's just made a pine needle out of Play-Doh and stuck it on the side. There you go. So cool. So that's a fir tree. I don't know how you're going to remember that fir trees have these little sucker cups. So pretty. So the difference, that's the fir tree. This is a spruce tree, which is also very popular for Christmas trees. If I turn that over, hopefully you can see that there's no sucker cups there. That's a little wooden peg instead. So that's a spruce. God, it's just amazing, isn't it? So that's the difference between a spruce and a fir. Fir tree, sucker cups, spruce tree. Maybe think of it as being like spiky spruce is held on by those little... So they're in the pine tree family, but they're not actually pine trees. By the way, if you find a tree and you can't see any sucker cups or wooden spikes and you're confused, then it might be that it's a yew tree. You remember, this is the yew tree that I showed you at the beginning. That is very similar to a Christmas tree, but it's got red berries on it or little white berries in this case, and it doesn't have either of those things. Right. So that's the difference between a fir tree and a spruce tree. I feel sorry for spruce trees. They get a bad rep because they tend to drop their needles. And also they're a little bit sort of weedier looking, aren't they? So they don't get used as much for Christmas trees, but they do smell amazing. Oh, they smell so good. They smell like a Christmas tree in a way that the Nordmann fir does not. So you've got to balance out whether you want the gorgeous smell and needles all over your carpet or whether you're happy with the fir. Of course, gardeners being gardeners, you can get fir trees now that do smell really nice. Okay, but the pine tree is the last one. The pine tree is very cool. It's got really, really long, soft needles. There's loads of different species of pine tree. Like I say, the pine tree that is native to Britain is native to Scotland, and it's called the Scots pine. This isn't a Scots pine, and I'll show you how you can tell, because on a pine tree, the needles come in little groups, and how many needles there are in one little group tells you what kind of pine tree it is. So again, here we go. So you can see here, the needles are coming out of little wooden pegs, but can you see here that this pine tree has got 3 needles per peg? If I pull it off, maybe you get a better view. Seems cruel, but it's already a bit of dead branch anyway. See? So we've got 1 wooden peg with, in this case, 3 needles coming out of it. So that tells me that this is not a Scots pine, because a Scots pine, the needles come in pairs. There's only 2 needles. I need to clean my hand lens, don't I? Scots pine trees only have 2 needles per sort of little peg. And this one's got 3. I did look it up actually. So I find it really interesting. I looked it up and now I can't remember what it was. It was a couple of years ago. But this pine tree near me is not a Scots pine. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, if you see a pine tree and it's got 2 needles coming out of each peg, then it's quite possibly a Scots pine and native to Britain. Right. Oh, I've done it again. I've told you all the things that I wanted to tell you, and I haven't finished my wreath. Okay, I'm gonna stick 1 little bit of cream coloured paper on this just to see if it's gonna look good, and then I'll tell you the Lego story. All right, hopefully you're getting yours finished as well. Oh, I should have showed you, I'm so sorry, I should have showed you right at the beginning on the BBC Bite Size page where they tell us how to do this. They've got loads of really cool examples. Wait, you're a bit zoomed in, aren't you? They show you how to make bows. You can cut out like a weird moustache shape and fold it over and make a bow. Like I say, you can find this website if you want to finish it off in your own time. But yeah, they've got artwork examples underneath, which I found very inspiring. That's when I realised, of course, it doesn't have to be green. It can be any colour you like. Look, there's a little, is it a polar bear? It's adorable. And look at this one. I don't even know what that is. It's got lightning, an eye, a bit of tomato. That person wins creativity for me. Yeah, there's loads of cool ones, so you can do whatever you like. So I thought I would try and make a Christmas pudding one. Here, come on, bear with me, indulge me a little bit. I just want to get this blooming thing finished, okay? So I'm going to fold it at an angle to make it more 3D. What do? I stick it on like that. I'm going to need another one of these, aren't I? I don't think 1 is quite going to be enough. I'm not entirely sure it looks like a Christmas pudding either, actually. I think it might. I suppose, what can I do to make it more Christmas pudding like? Maybe I should have had more cream on it. It's sort of it's giving me like kind of deer vibes. It sort of looks like I've made a little deer with ears. Anyway, you can carry on working on yours while I tell you the Lego story, and then maybe when I'm chatting in the comments at the end, I'll try and finish it off. All right. I don't know if I can tell the Lego story with like a bit of cinnamon in my face. Right, there we go. Oh, that's better. Okay. I think that's zoomed in enough. We'll find out in a sec. Have you heard of Druids? If you have, you're probably picturing a man in a white robe with his hood up, walking, head down, with a long staff, chanting. Maybe he's standing in the middle of Stonehenge. That's definitely what I would have been picturing until I researched this Lego story. And apparently, most of that is wrong. It was made up by people in the 1800s who wanted a good story. Thanks for nothing, 1800s. It turns out Druids were real. They were living in Britain when the Romans arrived. They were the religious leaders of their people, who we call the Celts. They could be men or women. They didn't build Stonehenge. Stonehenge was there when they got there. But we don't know very much about Druids because they didn't write anything down, or at least nothing has survived. Apparently writing things down might have actually been against the Druid rules in those days. What is wrong with you, Druids? It's like you don't care that in 2,000 years' time, I need to tell a Lego story about you and I need to know which Lego person to use. And how am I supposed to know, like, which thing you're supposed to hold? If you haven't written anything down, we don't know anything. Oh, it's like, honestly, they didn't care. Luckily for us, sort of, the Romans invaded Britain. And they did write down everything that they found, including telling us all about Druids. A lot of it is quite mean because they were sort of enemies the Romans were invading, but we can read between the lines. For example, Pliny the Elder, oh yeah, you heard of Pliny the Elder, Roman, famously died in Pompeii, wrote the natural history. We just did about him, which is why I'm saying it like that. But anyway, Pliny the Elder tells us in A Natural History, his book, how the Druids feel about mistletoe growing in oak trees. Pliny the Elder says, "The Druids held nothing more sacred than the mistletoe and the oak tree on which it grows. They do not perform any sacred rites without the greenery from these trees. The Druids consider anything sprung from oak trees to be sent from the heavens and to be a sign that the tree was chosen by the god himself. The mistletoe is exceedingly rare. When it is discovered, it is gathered with great ceremony, performed on the 8th day of the moon cycle. Dressed in white robes, the Druid climbs the tree and cuts the mistletoe with a golden sickle, which is caught below in a white cloak. Then the Druids get 2 white bulls and sacrifice them." Here is Kai's cow that he sent me. The first time it's ever been used in the Lego story, and it's like, are you kidding me? Sorry, what is happening to me? Yeah, the Druids used to sacrifice 2 white bulls and prepare for a banquet beneath the trees, and they believed that the mistletoe, taken in drink, would impart fertility to any animals that were sterile, and that it was an antidote for all poisons. Pliny the Elder, by the way, did also say that if you got bitten by a crocodile, the best thing to do was eat a lot of salty fish. So, you know, I'm just passing on the message. The Druids were also great respecters of the yew tree, planting it on their sacred sites. It's thought that when Christianity came to Britain, early Christians used these sacred sites as places to build churches and churchyards on, and that might be why yew trees now grow in churchyards. The Druids had a lot of beliefs and rituals built around nature. On the 21st of December, when the north is pointing as far away from the sun as it gets, and Britain is in deepest winter, the Druids would sit on hills of soil and wait for sunrise, seeing this moment as a rebirth. The idea eventually got built into Christmas by the Romans, who decided this was a great time of year to celebrate the birth of Jesus. Druids were extremely well respected in society. Julius Caesar tells us that this is the sunrise, by the way. Do you get this? I'm very excited by my new little paper. Julius Caesar tells us that you had to spend 20 years training for the job of being a Druid. And they didn't have to pay taxes or fight like other people, and they were in charge of sacrifices. So if you wanted something sacrificing and you upset a Druid, you wouldn't be able to get stuff sacrificed, and this was apparently the worst thing ever. It took the Romans over 100 years to finally conquer the Druids, who ended up holding out on an island near Wales, which we call Anglesey, but which the Romans called Mona. As the Romans approached the island of Mona in their ship, a commander wrote down how the Druids came out and lifted their hands and didn't seem to get hurt by the things the Romans threw at them, and the women had messy hair and waved fiery torches, all of which apparently really creeped out the soldiers, and the commander had to say to the soldiers, look, come on, we're Romans, we can do this. And eventually the story ends happily for the Romans, who, deciding never to flinch before a band of females and fanatics, cut down all who met them and enveloped the enemy in his own flames. This is the Romans enveloping the enemy in the Romans' flames, but it's just sort of more interesting picture. But anyway, this was sadly the start of the end for the Druids, except for work archaeologists are still doing right now to uncover their secrets. Evidence suggests, for example, that the Druids didn't sacrifice humans anything like as much as the Romans said they did. If yew trees could talk, they could tell us everything, because they live for over 2,000 years, and some of the ones that Druids planted are probably still alive in churchyards today. If you come across one, think like a Druid, will you, and ask it for details. The end. Oh, look, I had a little baby Jesus as well for when I mentioned Christmas and I forgot to use him. I feel like this Lego Story Show definitely wins the most toilet roll used in a Lego story. I'll tell you how long it took me to wrap all these little bits of Lego in toilet roll. I'm going to have to leave it like this now. Right, you lot. That is the end of my Lego Story Show about Christmas plans. I hope that you enjoyed it. Again, I have learned absolutely loads doing this. And I've got, I was going to say 2 paper wreaths. I've nearly got 2 awesome paper wreaths. I'm going to carry on the Christmas pudding one while I'm chatting to you. So yeah, that was the last story show of 2025. If you're watching live, this was actually my last live stream before the Christmas holidays. It's now the Christmas holidays. Oh, I'm so excited. I love the run-up. I love the run-up even more than Christmas Day. So yeah, if you're watching live, I'm going to take 2 weeks off for Christmas, do some more planning and writing and stuff, and some Christmasing. And then I think it's the January the 5th. It's like the first week back that isn't New Year's Day, basically. We're going to start again with a whole load more new Lego story shows. And a new all ages lesson module about Lego as well. So if you could find you only need like 2 bits of Lego to join in with a lesson. You don't need loads of expensive stuff. But yeah, we're going to spend a few weeks learning all about the science of Lego next term. Right, I'm going to go over to my Facebook page, because whenever I'm live on YouTube, I always put up a post on Facebook saying, if you want to comment, you can comment on this post and then I'll see it. Thanks, and I'll say hello to you. I always write it in that voice. So I'll go and see if anybody has said hello. See if anyone sent me any pictures of their wreaths. You're very good with the photos, you lot. So you might have done. And you're also very creative, so I'm quite excited about this. Let's have a look. Do a quick refresh. I've got a couple of bits of sellotape. My sellotape's done that thing where it's just wrapped itself round the table. It's very annoying. But I think I've got enough to finish this off. Here we go. Let's have a look. Amelia, you drew me a digital... Oh, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself, Amelia. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's put all comments. Look, there's Lewis as well. Oh, you've made a wreath and it looks like Father Christmas. Let's have a look. Hi from Lewis. Ours turned into Father Christmas. Oh, with the red hat and the beard. Oh, come on now. Okay, let's look at them in turn, shall we? I'm definitely not getting mine finished. This is Lewis's. Oh, that's good. Oh, this is just going to make me so cross. Well, I shouldn't be cross. I should just be delighted for you because I can always make it later. I love that red colour. That's really cool. Okay, so that's Lewis's. This is very inspiring, chaps. Thank you. This is a nice thing to do while I'm sitting watching a Christmas film tonight with my kids. This is Edmund's, is it? Edmund, what have you done? Oh, you went green. You went classic, and you had time to do a bow. And I love the fact that you've got a NASA t-shirt peeping through. That is like perfect fit with science. Look at that. That is great. Oh, I'm going to have to make about 20 wreaths after this. Oh, I should say, I didn't say that you can support me on Ko-fi. That is how I'm doing this for a living. Here's Aurelia with an amazing picture. How I do this for a living is that I'm going to say with confidence that most of the people who watch actually support me. If you can't afford to support me, don't worry about it. That is literally the whole point. You don't have to support me. You are supporting me by coming and watching these lessons. But some people have to pay me or I can't do this for a job. So what I say is, if you send me £5 a month on this website called Ko-fi, that is enough because there's enough of you watching that it makes a wage for me. But hopefully it's not I've got all my loops caught. But hopefully £5 a month isn't too much for you for what I'm doing. So if you support me on Ko-fi, you will receive a nice welcome pack with 1 or 2 or 3, depends how much you pay me, issues of Theatre of Science magazine in it. But Theatre of Science magazine takes so long to write that I had a brainwave this winter and realised I can just post you anything I like. So on the way to all my supporters at the moment is a winter activity pack. So it's not too late to sign up and get one. If you sign up to support me now, I need to bang on about this more because it's a good deal, isn't it? You get the usual welcome pack with magazines and rainbow glasses, and you also get what's left of my winter activity pack as well, which is very cool. It's just a nice little envelope full of nice things that I'm sending my supporters. Hello, Rose and Coral. All right, Jacob. Hello. Okay, Aurelia, before I get distracted, let's look at your beautiful picture. Oh, look at that. That is stunning. I don't know how Aurelia does it. Very good at just like knocking up gorgeous drawings whilst also listening to me. Here we go. Is that a... Oh, it is, isn't it? Is that a scientifically correct order of the colours? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Yeah, of course it is. Oh, I love it. You made me an electromagnetic spectrum Christmas tree. Is that, again, it always looks 3D. Is that paper? Or is it, that's just on the screen? It's amazing how realistic it looks. Oh, you've put it on a... Oh, I don't know what you've done. Anyway, it looks great. Let's see what everyone else has said. So I've got Rose and Coral. Hello, Rose and Coral. Hello. Jacob's here. We've got Imogen and Ophelia. Hello. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and we are looking forward to the new lessons in the new year. Oh, thank you. Yeah, me too. I am really... Yeah, it's just a good job in it. I'm excited about Christmas and I'm excited about starting a whole new topic. And I'm excited about getting this blooming wreath finished, which I am blooming well going to do. Watch me finish it. Hello, Casper and Iris. Hello, you two. Oh, I like the thought of you two. Cuddled up together watching it. Jack. Hello, Jack. Good to not see you, but you know what I mean. Oh, it's Jancy. Oh, no, it's Seren. Hello, Seren. Hiya. Oh, thanks for watching. Oh, I'm so glad you came to see the last one, you lot. It always quietens down a bit at the last few ones before the end of term because people are busy, aren't they? People are like Christmas shopping or frolicking in the snow or gathering nutmeg, I don't know, whatever home educators do at Christmas time. Jancy, what are you saying? We're running a bit late. Are you? Can't imagine that. Imagine being late to something. It's just so it's unacceptable to me. But we're doing the wreath activity. Oh, good. Thank you so much for everything. See you next year. Oh, I'll see you next year. Hey, Thomas and Isabel, watching with Granny and Grandad and wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Oh, hello, Thomas and Isabel. Say hi to Granny and Grandad, won't you? I feel like I know them now. Jacob, when you said 20 years of training in the Lego Story Show, I thought you were going to say steam train drivers. What are you talking about? No, I don't know how long you have to train to be a steam train driver. I'm sure it's not 20. It's a good point, though. I read that in a few different places, that to be a druid, you needed to train for 20 years. But we're talking like 2,000 years ago. I wouldn't have thought that life expectancy in the UK was much more than 20 years. Oh, look, I've made absolutely loads now and I hardly need any. Anyway, let's get this done. She says, making it sound like a terrible chore. Oh, gotta make my wreath. I feel seen. What are you saying? You got messy hair. Is Sarah saying that she's a druid because you've got messy hair? Do you enjoy wielding fiery lamps? Yeah, if you do, then you might have druid roots. Who knows? Grandad said you're looking very festive today. Thanks, Grandad. Yeah, I am, aren't I? Yeah, actually, Grandad, now you mention it, I'm so pleased with this. This green thing is a dress that I just bought in, I think, Help the Aged. It's my absolute find of the year. I'm going to be wearing this for the entire Christmas period now, whether I'm dressed as a wreath or not. I might just make this it's a pretty good Christmas Day outfit, actually, isn't it? Maybe spend a bit more time making a necklace of cinnamon sticks. Yeah, I think I might have hit on something. Okay, I'll just do a quick refresh to see if I've got anything else. I know Rocklin put an absolutely gorgeous picture of some wreaths up, some wreaths plural, you lot, in my Facebook group the other day. So you can always put a picture up in the Facebook group if you're not ready to show me the glory of your wreath yet. Oh, do you know, I think this is actually working out because you've got to tuck it under the last bit, haven't you? I've never managed to finish one before, so I've never done this bit. It's quite tricky. Okay, tuck that in as far as it can go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm really happy with this. Oops. Stick that in there and stick that in there. Get it in there and then push it. Hey, that's all right, isn't it? I reckon if I put some holly and berries on that and maybe some black dots to be the raisins, that's really going to look like a Christmas pudding. I mean, actually, I have got some holly here with red berries on. Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to... the problem I've got is that's the best bit of holly, but the red berries are down there. Guys, what do I do? I know. I'll cut it in the middle and then I'll stick 2 bits on. Right. Let's see if anyone else has left a comment. Oh, yeah, they have. Okay, I'm going to cut that there. Ow. Get an adult to do this for you. Because it doesn't matter if adults get cut. I don't know. Ow. There. I'm just gonna be lazy and use real holly. Is that gonna work? Yeah. That looks great. Okay, I'm gonna just stick it slightly behind the paper so that you can't see where the join is. There we go. Tongue out, I'm really concentrating. I'm not sure this is, I'm not sure this is going to last a year in my Christmas box, I have to say, but that's all right, isn't it? You think? Maybe if I stick a bit more in. I wonder if actually paper would have been better. Yeah, maybe I'll do it out of paper. Shall I just get to the comments? Yeah, I think paper probably is better and safer, actually. I don't know. It's not awful. Paper could make it a bit bigger. Charlie and Laura are here. What the what? Hello. Oh, Charlie and Laura sent me a picture of her wreath. God, there's me faffing around and you lot waiting to tell me interesting things. Hi from Emily, watching live for the 2nd time. Woohoo! But I watch on catch up 3 times a week. No, 3 times a week. Are you watching past ones? Are you eventually going to have caught up? Or are you doing IGCSE, just doing everything? I think your lessons are great. Oh, thanks. Can you do a Lego story on swans versus geese? Okay, this is where I have to go to my own YouTube channel to search. Because I'm sure quite recently we did swans versus geese, did we not? Let's have a look. Theatre of Science, swans. Fish versus sharks, theme parks. Wow, now apparently, oh yeah, there we go. We literally did 1 year ago, look. There it is. Your wish is my command. Bring a 1 or 2p piece, 2 pins or needles. Why on earth were we doing a friction activity in swans versus, I don't know, but anyway, yeah, there it is. Tell me if it's good. I can't remember anything about it. I'm sure it was, I'm not sure, but you can see on my face I can't remember anything about it. Hopefully it's good. Let me know. All right, there's Rose and Coral. Oh, there's Isabel. You are still working on your wreaths. Yeah, I know, me too. I'm not impressed actually with the multidisciplinary approach I've taken here. I'm going to take that off and just make some really nice big red paper berries and maybe post it in my Facebook group. Maybe I'll be organised like you lot are. Okay, there's Jack. Let's see, I'm going to click newest comments. Here we go. Oh, Jack, you think my pudding is a triumph? Thanks, that's very kind of you. Loving everyone's crafts. I know, it's nice, isn't it? Like, I'm a physics teacher, I should be over it, but I'm absolutely not over the fact that if you're watching live, I am literally doing this live. And loads of you lot are doing this live, but we can't see each other. It's so weird. It's really weird, isn't it? It's seeing photos of what you've done really makes me realise that it is. I mean, we just haven't evolved to operate like this, have we? Like, never before in history would this have ever been possible. So seeing a photo really makes me go like, oh my goodness, Orla is actually like in their house right now, actually doing this. Orla's has got rainbows. All I put rainbows on it. Oh, come on, look at that. Yeah, that's what I want. Something really big at the top. Little rainbows, so cute. And stars. And little kiss. Oh, you writing, is that say kiss? That reminded me that we didn't do anything about the mistletoe tradition, because not everything from the olden times is good. Like, mistletoe is also an evergreen plant that people used to bring into their houses, and then it was like it was okay to kiss people if they were standing on the mistletoe. It's not okay to make physical contact with people unless you check with them that it's okay first. So I'm not telling you the mistletoe story. It gets very dark very fast. Thomas suggests you could wear your wreath as a giant necklace. Yeah, if you made a massive one. Oh, it's a shame you can't break it apart. Yeah, it could have been like a cool ruff. Isabel, good luck with your wreath. Oh, Jack made 3 mini ones. I could have made a mini one. I thought making a mini one might be even harder because it would be really fiddly. Let's have a look at Jack's mini ones. Oh, okay, no, they look great. Oh, I see, of course, because he just made everything mini. Oh, that's clever. Oh, and okay, so you've gone like multi-textural. Oh, yeah, I really like that. Oh, look, is that a pencil for scale? Is that what you've done there? They're really nice. And you did Christmas colours. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's very inspiring. Yeah, maybe if I'd done a mini one, I would have got it finished. Okay, well, I'm going to go and just sit on my own in front of my computer and finish this. There's Emily's comment again. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy Swans versus Geese if you watch it, Emily. Thanks for watching on Catch Up. I find it very difficult to watch myself on Catch Up. I need that live, like, oh, maybe something might go wrong element. Oh, Rose and Coral, look at these wreaths. Holy smokes. Charlie and Laura, hello. Spot the Creeper, what? Okay, let's have a look. I'm losing track of my wreaths. Okay, so this is the Spot the Creeper quiz from Charlie and Laura. Oh yeah! Is that on your clothes or is that on the wreath? Is that like PJs or a t-shirt? I can't tell. That's really good. Wow, yours really came out well, didn't it? Yours looks bigger than mine. You know, I'm not saying that out of jealousy. It just does look bigger than mine. Oh, it's a nice colour green as well. Okay, let's see what else we've got here because I've opened a lot of tabs. Okay, yeah, that's Orla's. Oh, that's Jack's oh yeah, here we go. I haven't seen these ones. These are Rose and Corals. Oh, yeah, you did. That must have taken you ages. How did you, that really must have taken, did you have to like wrap it around once and then cut it and wrap it around once and then cut it and wrap it around once and then cut? That is good. The hard work has paid off. I love how they match as well. Oh, that is very nice. That's clever. That's sort of thing they do in shops because then you have to buy both of them, not just one because they look better together. That's very cool. Oh, well done, you two. Okay, that's the Spot the Creeper quiz. It's actually quite creepy. Okay, yeah, and that's the first one we saw. That's Lewis's Santa Claus. Nice work, you lot. Okay, one more little refresh, and then I better go. There's Jacob. There's Sarah with the messy hair. There's Jancy. There's Edmonds. Okay, I think that's everyone's. Yeah, if I haven't seen it, then I'm very sorry. I'm going to blame Facebook and not me. I'm going to go and finish off my Christmas pud and then get it hung up somewhere. I hope you have a really, 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 really wonderful festive season. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. And I will see you, next year when we will cover some of the many, many Lego Story Show requests that I've got written on my wall. Right, one last newest comment just to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Oh, okay, you finished it. All right, well, good. I'm glad that I refreshed. Oh, you've got finished. Oh my goodness, no wonder it took you so long. Oh, look at these colours. Oh, it's so wintry. That is such a beautiful decoration. How did you do that? Seriously, what is that? With a little bit of, like all rustic, wintry streak. That is very nice. Congratulations. Yeah, well worth the time. All right, you lot. That's just my office, sorry. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all in 2 weeks' time, hopefully, for another load of Theatre of Science lessons. Thank you so much for your support. I didn't even bother to write coffee on the board. Did I mention it's a good time to support me and that I'll send you some Christmas I did mention that. Thank you for just thank you for all the support that you've given me all this year. It's been a bit of an up and down year, hasn't it? Facebook page got hacked, had to completely start again, but we just did, and everything was fine. Yeah, I hope you have a lovely holiday. I'll see you all very soon. Bye.